So you see yourself in the city council as being kind of a collector of information and decision making with that.
I think so, and then hopefully I also see myself as someone that can cut through a lot of the wasted time and cut through some of the crap. I mean, I don't think the city council should be spending a lot of time figuring out how to draw up an affidavit for something that people are not going to follow in the first place. I don't think city council should waste a lot of time on deciding how tall a door is going to be in the next housing development or what color we should paint the building. That's wasted time. You know, obviously we want everything to look nice and to keep the aesthetics of Aspen and what have you, but city council meetings don't need to be wasted on that kind of a thing,
Right.
if that makes sense. So yeah.
Have you been going to city council meetings or watching?
They've been
them,
on, they've been on Zoom. I've watched some of them. They're they're interesting. I feel like they get sidetracked a lot. I feel like they get distracted. They might sit down with, these are the things that we're here to accomplish today, and they get onto the first topic, and then they're completely sidetracked into something completely else that has nothing to do. I think their time could be better managed. That getting back to what we just spoke on.
Yeah. Well, we only have a minute or two left, and I wanted to make sure that you had a chance to say anything that I may have failed to bring up, or what you want to.
No, I mean,
and then I have one more question for you.
I think that I've pretty much gotten across what, for the most part.
Yeah.
What's your next question?
Your hat. Mm-hmm. That's a trademark.
It kind of has been, yeah.
Yeah.
I like wearing hats.
Yeah.
I like wearing hats, and we're in Aspen, right? It's still kind of has the Wild West feel. At least should still have that kind of a feel. And they're nice for fishing. They keep the sun off, and I think they look a little better. Don't get me wrong. I wear a baseball hat a lot, but for something like this, going out to dinner, going to a show, I think they're just a little more dressy than a grungy baseball hat.
Well, I really appreciate that you wore your going to town hat.
There you go. Yep.
For this and for showing an interest in city council and wanting to do that. It's a bit of a. I sometimes wonder why anybody signs up to go to endless meetings.
Sure.
And endless opinions.
Well, there's a saying that goes along with that. I'm not going to share it here, but
everybody has one.
Everybody has one. That is for sure. And I never in a million years foresaw myself getting into politics as a kid. I didn't.
Yeah.
But I do love this community, and I consider it family. It's all but maybe 5 of my lifelong friends live here. They've come from here. I've developed a lot of really long-term relationships here. And, this town has an identity, and it needs to keep that. Cowboy hat, Wild West, that is it's something that we need to keep an eye on, to be mindful of. But also, too, this town has to grow. It's going to grow, whether we like it or not, and I think City Council has the ability to kind of steer how it does grow. Because if it doesn't grow, it's going to fail. And we really have become a community of second homeowners. And while that's good and great, and they bring a lot of money here, there's a lot of people in this community that work and rely on this community. And when we, shut down a restaurant because we assume it's the right thing to do, and we really haven't done our due diligence to make sure that it is the right thing to do, we're costing a lot of people their livelihoods. And people are having to go get canned food because they can't, go to the restaurant where they might, cook or wash dishes or wait tables or what have you. And I feel like sometimes their voice doesn't always get heard.
Okay. Well, what do you think the place will look like in 5 or 10 years? If you have a chance to influence it.
It's going to be bigger. It's going to be bigger. I think, there's going to be a couple more hotels. Hopefully it feels the same and looks bigger, looks better, more restaurants, more hotels, more housing, more whatever. I mean, we don't want to grow so quickly that, we turn into, Vale, because, Aspen has its own luster that is not that. So I do think there's a way to do it intelligently to kind of keep our eye on what the town has always been and should always stay. But it's going to grow. People are going to come here. People don't want to live in the cities anymore. At least I sure don't. So come here. A place that has all the amenities of a city, phenomenal food, phenomenal music, world-class fishing, hunting, skiing, all these things that we have to offer. But then it's safe.
Yeah.
My keys are, I shouldn't say this, but my keys are in my truck right now. The doors aren't locked. This is a very safe community, and we got to keep that too.
All right. Casey, thank you very
much. Thank you.
It was a pleasure talking to you. And,
good to meet you.
And thank you for watching another episode of Probeline.
My entire adult life has been spent in service to others. I was 19 when I first felt the call to serve. As a combat veteran and a lifelong Democrat, my desire to protect my community and find ways to help others has guided my life's path. Pioneer spirit brought me here to Colorado, and this generous Aspen community has kept me here. Now is the time to step up and serve again. I want to see my community thrive with opportunity. I've lived in this valley for the past 15 years, and I've lived in Aspen for 8 of them. I love this city. 11 years ago, I opened my own business, Wrench Face Motor Company. Although education might not be in the realm of a city council member, the future of our youth and our community is a priority to me. The last 8 years I've spent investing in the youth as a hockey coach, and for the last 3 years, I've worked with the Mayfly Project. I can tell you, kids need connection, support, and good role models to look up to. As a leader, I always strive to do what I want others to do when there are challenges and problems. I act, I step up, and I serve. I believe I'm uniquely equipped to do just that here in this community. Aspen is at a critical crossroads. We've been through a lot in these last few years, from the boom of 2018 to where we find ourselves now, experienced a significant loss in revenue, an APSHA crisis, and what seems to many unfair policies that harm small businesses and the authentic local production. You can see how these challenges could also weigh on the mental health of the community. Being a veteran, this is something that I'm all too familiar with, and something that I feel needs to be addressed. I believe the middle-class families in this community need more choices, more support, and they need a voice on city council. The decisions we are making here in city council will either help or hinder their growth. I'm Casey Endsley, and I'd be honored to have your trust and your vote for city council. First, I want to thank you guys for giving us this platform. That's pretty awesome. Appreciate that. A couple of things that we didn't really get to touch on during the kind of Q&A section. One of my big kind of points is our mental health in our community, and that we don't really talk about that. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there were 5 deaths in the last 72 hours due to mental health issues. The homeless park down at the Intercept lot, they're having some issues there, and these guys cannot get the kind of help that they need. They call the hospital, they're going to have to wait months and months and months to get the kind of help that they need, and it's not right. With a community with the kind of resources that we have, we should be able to do something about that. We also have a local government that we're spending $900 a square foot on affordable housing. That does not make sense to me. That's not affordable housing. Anywhere you look at that, that's luxury housing. Now, I'm not saying that these affordable housing places need to be cheap, but I think that there's a happy medium somewhere in the middle. Our tax revenue right now is 17% below what it was in 2019, and our lodging tax is 27% lower. We need to get this community back open. We need to get people back to work, and we need to get people coming back here to vacation and do the kinds of things that this town is for. Another thing, the spending. I didn't really get to touch on that question, but we approved a $600,000 COVID expert, or a group of COVID experts, to come in a couple months after the pandemic started. You can't tell me that you're $600,000 worth of expert a couple months after we just started having this pandemic. The spending is out of control, and we need to reel that in. We need to lock it down. When we start building this lumberyard project, we need to fast track that. We need to get the permits approved. We need to get that ground broken and get that built, because if it takes 6 or 7 years to get done, him on about what color it should be or how tall the doors can be, we're going to have a bigger housing crisis than we already do. I'm Casey Endsley, and I'd appreciate your vote.